I turned my calendar to a brand new month this morning, August, a time that reminds me that harvest is soon near. Or perhaps harvest is already here. August begins with Lammas Day, which means Loaf Mass Day, the day when a bread of loaf was baked with the flour from the harvested wheat or corn, and then was brought to the church to be blessed. It is one of the oldest points of contact between the agricultural world and the church. In colonial time, it was customary for the head of household to bring the loaf to be blessed, and then use it later on at a time of celebration. Here at Olde Stone Well Farm, it is also a time of celebration on August 1st, as it is Swiss National Day. Switzerland was founded in 1291, and so I get to work hanging the Swiss flags on the back porch and trying to control my Swiss dog, Fritz, the Bernese mountain dog, who knows that there's something special to this day, and so he wants extra hugs and extra scratches. I did fire up the bake oven on this very humid day, as I wanted to try to make something special for Lammastide and Swiss National Day. But the wind started to pick up, so I decided it wasn't very smart to have a fire going. So I went to work to harvest my wheat, the first time I ever tried to grow any. It is said that for good luck, you are to harvest the wheat on August 1st and not before. My garden has been growing so beautifully this summer. I think it's all the rain and hot days that we have been having. And I really do hope that the morning glories on this arbor bloom soon. But what really excites me this year was that the wheat did grow. I really wasn't sure if it was going to or not. And I look forward to making my own loaf of bread. Bread has always been a centerpiece in many celebrations in all cultures. The Book of Common Prayer reminds me that wine makes glad the heart of men, oil makes a cheerful countenance, and bread strengthens a heart. This year, though, I didn't try making my own loaf of Swiss bread, but I ordered this from a bakery down in Virginia. The tradition of going to church on August 1st, Lammas Day, and having your bread blessed is no longer a popular one. I searched the annals of history and I found this beautiful prayer for Lammas Day. For the promise of harvest contained within a seed, we thank you, God. For the oak tree within an acorn, the bread within a grain, the apple within a pip, the mystery of nature gift-wrapped for us to sow. For all of this, we thank you. My friends, welcome to Olde Stone Well Farm on Swiss National Day and Lammas Day, a new tradition for me, and I hope it is one for you. Well, welcome to Olde Stone Well Farm. It is great to be back with all of you. Feeling much better. The antibiotics for my Lyme disease, they have done wonders. And I feel like my old self again. So thank you for your patience and your thoughts and your prayers. I am being mindful to pace myself and not overdo it anymore. And I am still out in the woods and the tall grass, but I am using insect repellent and I'm checking myself carefully. I'm just not going to let this hold me back. And I'm not going to let fear of ticks stop me. Even though Lyme disease is an extremely serious thing, I don't want it to stop me from being who I am or living. Reminder for all of you, do not let fear hold you back from living, okay? Promise me that. But I'm here today in my Swiss dirndl because August 1st is Swiss National Day. And for those of you who have been coming to Olde Stone Well Farm, you know it's a big celebration in my family as my father is from Switzerland. And so I'm getting ready for the festivities. I have my cheese, but not only is it, I just had a slight accident with a light that just fell over. And so now I am missing some lights. As I was saying, not only is it Swiss National Day, it's the start of Lammastide. Now, August 1st is Lammas Day, an old antiquated celebration in which would mark the start of the harvest season. There's a lot of things already starting to get ready to harvest. There's apples on the tree. My pumpkin is turning orange. But I love the tradition of Lammas Day, a day in which you cut down your wheat and then you hang it to dry. And then with whatever wheat you have, you make a loaf of bread. And then on Lammas Day, August 1st, you bring it to the church to have it blessed. And then you put that loaf aside and save it for a special time of Thanksgiving. As I was harvesting my wheat on Lammas Day, they say not to harvest it before August 1st. I was laughing because I think my husband is right. When I decided to try for the first time ever to grow wheat, I planted just a little plot. And my husband was laughing. He was like, that's not going to be enough for even one loaf. So as I was cutting it and looking at it, I think he's right, but I'm still going to process it and I'm still going to try to make something from it because that's who I am. I never give up and I love trying something new, even though I fail miserably so many times. Life is an adventure for me. I just want to try it, even if I fall flat on my face. So I have my wheat that has been cut. I just need to tie it and hang it so it dries. And my husband is going to be right. I'll probably get a little muffin out of it. But Swiss National Day and then Lammastide and all these references to bread, having bread blessed or having a Swiss National Day bread to enjoy with your cheese, it got me thinking about what we pray when we say the Lord's Prayer. It's the prayer that Jesus taught his friends to say that starts with, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And then the prayer goes on. So as I was cutting down my wheat on Swiss National Day and Lammas Day, I kept thinking about my daily bread. Do I trust God to provide me with what I need just for the day and for the next day and then for the next day to come? I have a confession to make. I'm a worrier. And this summer, I've been worrying a lot about provision for my family. My husband, he is a truck driver and he drives for a propane company. And of course, it's warmer weather, so business slows down. It wasn't that bad last summer, but this summer it was pretty bad. There's been a lot of days that he hasn't been working. And I found myself trying to pray, give us this day our daily bread. We're going to be okay. Don't worry about tomorrow. What did I do when he didn't have work? I go straight to the family budget. I start getting the calculator out and I start adding up things and seeking ways I could cut corners, or what can we do without, or what is the bare minimum that we could live off of. Now, I don't live a luxurious life. I try to live as simply as I can, but things are out of control lately, as you know. Everything is so expensive. So even if you do try to live very simply, the costs are still going up. So when I was out in my meager little garden, my meager little harvest of wheat that will get me one little muffin, I kept thinking, Lord, give us this day our daily bread. And I kept thinking of all the early colonial settlers who would celebrate Lammas Day, and as they cut down their harvest, I bet they had worries too. I bet they had worries. Is this going to be a good harvest? Will the good harvest continue to come? We have the meal right now before us, but will we have a meal tomorrow? I realize that for as much as I think that I have gotten to that point where I trust that God is holding me each and every day, the worry still enters into my life. And I don't want to live like that. There's a story in the Bible as Moses led the children into the wilderness, and they're worrying about their tomorrows as well, and they're worrying about what are they going to eat, and God hears them complaining and grumbling, and God sends manna from heaven. Now we don't know exactly what manna is, but this manna, morsels of food, came down from heaven, and they had their fill and they weren't hungry anymore. But God provided the manna every day. But he said to them, don't hoard it. You have enough just for today. Give us this day our daily bread. So what do? They decide to hoard it. And what happens? It goes bad. God said, don't hoard. I'm a hoarder. As I worry about will we have enough for tomorrow, I find myself buying extra cans of food just in case, extra coffee just in case. Heck, I'm still buying extra toilet tissue left over from that COVID pandemic rush on toilet tissue. I just now fear that I'm not going to have enough. And that's not a way to live. God said to the children of Israel, don't hoard. There's another story in the New Testament that has to do with bread, and it was the feeding of the 5,000. Now, if you just take it as 5,000, that miracle is amazing that Jesus was able to take just a few loaves of bread and fish from a little boy and feed the masses. But when you think about it, 5,000 probably were just the 5,000 men that were counted. It was a patriarchal society. So, of course, they were just going to reference the men. So if you think about that, that means that there were more people being fed, not just 5,000, but the wives and the children of those 5,000 men. Just a thought I wanted to throw out to you. I haven't confirmed it, but I was just thinking along those lines that I think this miracle was even bigger than we could ever imagine. So the story goes that Jesus took the little that was available, blessed it, and was able to feed everyone. It's like that old hymn says, little is much when God is in it. I need to remember that. I need to sing that some more. Little is much when God is in it. But the part of the story that I like the most is when, after everyone has had their fill, Jesus tells his friends to go get the bushel baskets and fill up all the leftovers. And there were baskets and baskets of leftover. There was even more to go around. If only we can live like that each and every day, realizing that with God, there's enough for today. And what little we do have, well, that's even enough to share with others. We cannot hoard. And yet I find myself worrying and hoarding. And I wonder by me worrying about my daily bread and me hoarding whatever it might be, cans of food, coffee, toilet tissue, whatever. Wonder how that might be holding back the even more that God has for me. I'm hoarding. I'm not going to see the miracles that God has when he could take my little, whatever my little might be, and make much out of it. When we hoard, when we don't trust, when we fear, that's when we fail to see what God was intending to do. So on this Swiss National Day, and as we enter into the season of Lammastide, a season of harvesting the wheat and baking our bread and having our loaves blessed, and save it for a moment, a celebration of Thanksgiving, is also a season for us to remember that our loaves are indeed blessed, and that the promise of daily bread is a promise that God never fails at, not at all. Do not hoard when you are fearful of the little that you see all around you. Trust in a great big God. And I'm going to trust that that little pile of wheat that I have, perhaps I will get more than just a little muffin out of it. I might just be able to get more than one loaf out of my harvest. Who knows? Anything is possible with God. Because little is much when God is in it. So happy Swiss National Day. I wish you could taste some of that Swiss bread, but it is delicious, trust me. And happy Lammastide. Let us now enter into a season of harvest, trusting that it is abundant and that God will put right in front of us what we need, whatever it might be, this very day. And now I say farewell with a Lammas Day blessing. We bless you, God of seed and harvest, and we bless each other, that the beauty of this world and the love that created it might be expressed through our lives and be a blessing to others, now and always.